Culture is truly what is the foundation of a company. And so when you talk about culture transformation, it's how do we put together strategies that ultimately are driving inclusion, but also impact productivity, as well as end up increasing revenue and profits for the company, simply because the employees are inspired to be at their job.
What are some common themes that you see amongst some of the executives?
Minimizing the voice of the employees. So there's this book called The 4 Agreements. It's literally 4 simple rules to live by. Well, 1 is be impeccable with your word. 2 is make no assumptions.
It has to work or it has to work.
Welcome to Circle of Greatness. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis, and today I get to bring one of the most special ladies I know before you. I'm talking about an entrepreneur. I'm talking about an executive producer. I'm talking about a cultural leader for Fortune 100 companies. The list goes on and on. A fashionista, and the most important thing, I'm gonna say, amazing mother. Without further ado, my sister Modupe. How you feeling?
Hey, I'm so excited to be here, and I
to
just
get
felt
that-
amazing just now listening to you talk about me.
I was trying to get it right because you wear so many hats at such a high level that I was like, how do I clearly let them know she's an executive producer? She's ran some of the biggest companies in the world in her what you do. Fashionista, launching a brand, executive producer, producing movies behind the scenes. So and connected. Like the biggest thing that I know is like connected, right? So it's like I had a conversation with Devin, and Devin like, yo, you gotta connect with my sister Modupe. I'm going out the cans. Which one is it? Can.
Yeah.
She set all of these things up for me. It was like she only made a couple phone calls and my whole weekend is set.
Yeah.
And I've had the honor and privilege to meet you, and we've been rocking since. And I just want to say thank you for what you did for him and what you do for so many other people. You tell me that's just something you do for everybody. So appreciate you and your work that you do.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you for saying that. And I think it's so important for us when you meet people, and especially whether it's people from different communities, you got to connect and learn about their story. And if there's a door that we can open for someone, or just literally just say, I think you should do it. You should lean into it, give it a try. And for Devin, right, like it was such an amazing opportunity. I do want to pause and tell the story of how Devin even connected with me.
Okay.
In my previous role before I left corporate America, I was a diversity leader at Amazon for one of the largest segments of Amazon. And Devin reached out to me, literally just like cold called me on LinkedIn.
Wow.
It was like, getting ready to do some business with another area of the business, would love to do some business with you. And I was so impressed by his content, I sent it to a young lady on my team, and instantly she reached out. And from there, he started doing business and putting things together for my organization.
Wow.
And when I got to know him, we sat down and had a conversation about you. And in that conversation, you had invited him to another opportunity where he wasn't sure if he was going to make it. And I said, hey, I really think you should go. I said, sometimes we ask God for these amazing opportunities and gifts, and then he places them in front of us, and somehow we begin to turn our back on it. And I said, I don't think you need to do that. I really believe you need to just figure it out and go. And he went, and it opened up other opportunities for him. Same thing with Can. Are you going to be there? Top marketers in the world. You need to be there. And so
how many years you been going to Can?
This was my 2nd year. Yeah, last year we sponsored.
You was walking around like you owned the place. I thought you
I
been
know,
there
right?
Since the beginning. Make this happen. We at this party. We here tonight.
It's what you said in the intro. It's the connections. And it's so funny because even when leaving corporate America, I was in corporate for 20 plus years. And I had the opportunity to work at, 2 amazing companies, Cisco Systems and Amazon. And the relationships that I built during that time, when I decided to leave, I wondered if the connections would go with me, or were people just after the connection to the company.
That's good.
And I realized that it was the relationships that I had built with them. And so that was that power of when I get to certain events or people ask, are you coming? Are you going to be here? And you look up and you're like, okay, I'm good. I forgot how many people I'm connected to, but that also opened the doors for so many other people. There's this one phrase that a few of my friends use. It's like the Black woman mafia, right? Or I call it the Black woman power circle. It's once you get connected to certain sisters, they're saying your names in other rooms, right? Consultant opportunities open up, or, branding, strategizing. Like, we will literally get together and help each other build strategies, and not because of the money, but because of the commitment to sisterhood. And so I would say special shout out.
You call it the Black Sisters? What you call it?
It's like a Black sister power circle.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know Terry Matthews?
I don't.
I gotta plug y'all too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set that up today.
Please.
She's here in Atlanta, but I just had a conversation. She had the same exact thing about a sister circle.
Yes.
I mean, similar. That's what I was like. Wow.
And I guarantee you that she and I probably know some of the same people
100%.
and are in many of the same circles.
Wow.
And so it's, I'll meet someone and get added to another WhatsApp group or whatever, and you look at their group and you realize about 5 of the same sisters are in there.
Wow.
And literally, like, the last 2 years have been amazing for me with building just the network of Black women.
Let me ask you this: when you say that, I'm assuming in this group, it's not you're not a what's in it for me. From what I see, it's always really about how you can help others. Like, how did you curate? Even when we were just talking offline, like, you got to change words from I to we. It's just certain things that you learned from 20 plus years. But how did you learn how to build and I guess cultivate these relationships that you have?
It's a couple of things. The first thing I'll just talk about is my experience working in corporate. My experience was in change management, large scale org adoption. And the last maybe 12 years of my career was in the culture transformation and diversity, equity, and inclusion space. And what you end up encountering throughout building—
Explain what those are for people who don't know. Like, I heard of diversity and inclusion, but the first part is kind of new to me. You said culture
transformation.
Can you give an overview of that? Just so we're—
Have you?
Because I know they listening. They be like,
what's she talking about?
They may know, but I need to know.
Okay, good. Okay, so ultimately, this is what I would say. So it's funny because I was at another event last week, and the marketing organization said what they do is they focus on culture. And it's so high level, but it's like, what does that even really mean, right? Culture is truly what is the foundation of a company. What drives people to want to be at work? Are they inspired when they get to the company? What's the value system of the company? And then how does it come to life? So if you think about working for, whether it's your company, what are the mission, the vision, the values of the company, so that everyone is really singing the same tune. But ultimately, when you start to dig into the experience that the employees are having, what is the experience?
That's good. And
have you taken the time to define it and understand it? Now, when you talk about culture transformation, some companies literally have a culture of, it's a terrible place to work. It's normal to scream at people in meetings. It's normal to get on a call and not greet people, right? It's normal to not respond to emails within, never, right? It's a culture of, how they would talk about water cooler chat, different things like that.
Yep.
Well, when you think about those things, like, what are people talking about around the water cooler? Are they gaslighting other employees, meaning just saying negative things about them, destroying their character? These are things that impact the culture of a company. And so when you talk about culture transformation, it's how do we get underneath why those things may be happening in a company, and then put together strategies that ultimately are driving inclusion, but also impact retention, productivity, as well as end up increasing revenue and profits for the company, simply because the employees are inspired to be at their job. Yeah.
So you're obsessing, like, when you're consulting these companies you consult with, when you were putting these systems and processes in place, and you're obsessing over the work experience for the employee.
Absolutely.
And making it just the best possible place.
Making it the best possible place. And I'll tell you, one of the things for me that truly is a key driver for me is when you have a conversation with employees. I've worked globally, so I've met employees in all parts of the world. And when you're having a conversation with an employee that's telling you about a story where they are of the LGBTQIA plus community, but they can't be open in their country because their life is at risk.
Yeah.
And when you have those conversations and you understand how work can be a sanctuary for them, it's a safe space for them to be free. Or it's a space where they're bullied, right?
Yep.
When you have those conversations, I've had conversations with employees that will tell me about how, they contemplated suicide just simply because of who they are. Or they're not being open about the mental health struggles that they're having. And that's where you take that home and you sit with it, but then you have to learn the tactics of not internalizing it, because I'm human too. And as I'm going through my own life struggles and journeys, you ultimately are always thinking about how can I make the space better for someone else. But the big play is the strategic play with executives, because many of them, they have the ability to offload those responsibilities to whether it's their HR person, their chief of staff, finance, whomever. But what I do is I get in the room with executives and I have real conversations about those moments.
Yeah.
Or more importantly, how you can be vulnerable as a leader, and that vulnerability creates this connected space to connect with your employees or someone else that you may not even know who you're talking to, but just simply the power of being vulnerable, it opens the door for everyone to feel like they belong.
That's good. That's good. And when you're having these conversations, what are some common themes that you see amongst some of the executives that are just, I guess, common themes?
And you know what? Most people will say it changes across industries, but I just did, an inclusion workshop for a Hollywood studio about a month or so ago. And some of the same challenges that they're having with their company are the same challenges that exist in other larger corporations or small companies as well. And it's simply minimizing the voice of the employees, right? And so another example of
when you say that, minimizing the voice, meaning the employee feel like they're minimized, or it's like not listening to them?
Not listening to them. So let's say, for instance, you've got an executive that has consistently heard that this is a tough place to work. Consistently hear it. They're like, oh, that person, they're too soft, which is inappropriate, right? Oh, they're too fragile. They're not used to this industry. They're new. They come from another area of the business. You begin to make up all of these excuses versus pausing and say, well, maybe there is something here that makes this a difficult place to work. So that's where you're minimizing the voice of the employees, because ultimately what happens is when you do that, the employees will talk amongst themselves. And those leaders begin to get a brand where they're not inclusive, right? Or when I say inclusive, meaning they don't create space where everyone is welcome at the table. And when those types of things happen, it starts to permeate the culture of what is the brand of that company, out in the different markets. Well, people may say, oh, this is a great, company. They produce amazing work, but here's what I hear about the company, right? Those are the types of things that's a result of people minimizing the impact of an employee's voice.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's get deep. You gotta come do a workshop for me.
Yes, I need to.
Yeah. Because I think it's important. I'm always looking to grow as a leader, and I take responsibility when things go wrong often. Even if it ain't my fault, I blame it because it's our company.
Right.
So I'm always trying to get better, but it's a challenge. I don't want to act like it's just the easiest thing in the world. So definitely want to.
I think that's the human behavior piece of it too, right? Like when you are a person and you are hearing information, I'll admit that as a leader, I can say that I do all of these things, but I'm not perfect. And because we spend so much time with employees, life has a way of showing up at work. And when it shows up, sometimes if you're having a bad day, that bad day can, you give it to the first person that you talk to. Usually it can be your assistant, your chief of staff, or whomever the people are that you work with the most. You don't mean to, but you also have to be willing to course correct and acknowledge. Like, you can't say, I apologize every time, because then that's just an abusive relationship, right? But if you make the mistake and the person knows you well enough to be able to say, okay, let's take a step back and see what happened in your day, so that I can help you not do this to me again and not do it to anyone else.
I've had the privilege to help hundreds and hundreds of people all around the world open up their own profitable event spaces utilizing my signature formula. Number one, how to find a space. Number two, how to fund the space, and how to automate the space. I've been in Atlanta, Georgia now living for 2 years. My spaces are still in Philadelphia operating, doing extremely well because we use the same exact formula that I break down, right? If you're interested in learning how we can help you, I want you to go to eventsspacesecrets.com, watch a training, or book a call with our team to see if you are a good fit. Again, this is for you specifically if you're looking for other ways to leverage your money and turn that into other streams of income, right? I don't believe there's a better time than right now for you to get tapped into the information in a game that can help you. So again, go to eventsspacesecrets.com, watch the training, or book a call with our team to see if you're a good fit for this opportunity. Let's go. You've spent the last 20 years in corporate. You spent the last 20 years in corporate lifting these organizations up, like increasing revenues by huge amounts, like just coming in and like being a staple, right? What made you say, hey, I'm about to go pursue all of the different things that you are doing now? What made, because you could have stayed and continued to grow in corporate America. And I know that's not a thing that some people don't want to leave. Like, what made you say, I'm going to go do this? Like, you didn't like, I'm going to do this on the side. You like, yo, I'm all in. Like,
I'm all in.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so interesting, Neo, because last year was a really tough year for my family, and we lost a family member. And it was a 16-year-old, my godson. And it put so many things in perspective for me. And one of the things it put in perspective for me was just living and loving life like there was no tomorrow.
That's good.
And when I started on that journey, I started fantasizing about what life would be if I started something new. Now, I'll tell you, God met me in a different place because I didn't know what it was going to look like. But by the time I got to January, I had shoulder surgery, which for those people who've had shoulder surgery, it's really like a hard thing to go through because you're so dependent on,
people, right?
everyone to help you, like literally no function in the arm. It's so hard. But shout out to
don't let it be your dominant arm.
And it was my right arm.
Oh, see.
Oh, it was terrible. And so shout out to my daughters. I have 4 daughters. They were so amazing. They took care of me.
How did you do that? 4 daughters.
I'm telling you. I still wonder how I did it too. But it's funny. I joke about, I had my first daughter when I was 17. And, when
That's
you're...
your 29-year-old daughter?
No, 32.
32-year-old daughter, okay.
32.
32, 29, 27, and 11.
And 11, yes.
Got it.
That's when people are like, wait a minute, you were
and
done.
And I just want to say something, y'all.
Yeah.
We're sitting on the side, and I'm like, Devin introduced me. Devin, I think he's 37. So I've always thought you were our exact same age until just now you said I got a 32-year-old. I'm like, wait.
Let me just pause and look at the camera real quick.
Yeah. Look at that skin. Look at that glow. Skin routine coming soon, y'all.
Yeah.
But no, it was just they say black don't crack.
Black don't crack. It will crack if you don't take care of it.
100%.
But I am intentional about taking care of myself. And it feels good. When you think about the things you do to make yourself feel good, being able to take care of my skin makes me happy. It brings me joy. I don't even know what we were talking about.
We were talking about shoulder surgery and how, shout out to your amazing daughters holding you down.
Holding me down. And by the time I got to January, I, like everyone else, I go through the vision board process. And I was so intentional and specific. And the reason why I was so specific about what I wanted was I also read this book called The Creation Frequency. And I'm one of those people that if I read a book, if it resonates with me, then
Yep.
I try to instantly implement it in my life in
Yep.
some capacity,
That's
whether
good.
it's a book, a video, something. I'm like, oh, I got to do that. This is going to make my life better. God bless you.
Thank you.
And so when I read the creation frequency, there's an app that goes with the creation frequency. And what you do is you have to be very specific about what you want.
That's good.
Right? So if you want to make $5 million, I am making $5 million in the following areas. And then you're so specific about. Yeah. And I started writing these things out, but then you record it into the app. And when I recorded it into the app, I had forgotten actually that I started talking about being an entrepreneur, right? I want to be an entrepreneur. Now I own real estate, and so, but it wasn't that type of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It was
almost an active entrepreneur.
Yes, exactly. And so I did that. I also started to think about new opportunities. The new opportunities is what really moved me into leaving Amazon. So you've got the living life, like my life depended on it. And there's a book by Kamal Ravikant called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It.
How many books you read in a year?
I don't know. Because I use Audible too.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Same. That still counts.
Yeah, it does count.
Audible.
Yeah, because
that's a book.
When you're on the plane and right when the plane
driving,
yes,
there's a lot going on.
Everything is taking things in micro doses, and so I'm definitely a microdose type of person. Okay. And so with that book, it was, what am I doing to truly love myself, right?
That's
listing
good.
those things out, like very intentional about my journey towards me. And once I started taking that journey towards me, that's when I feel like God said, okay, let's do this. And the way the let's do this happened was I made the decision to leave Amazon after moving to Atlanta.
Happy you here.
Me too, thank you.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely amazing. But what else was so wonderful was when I got here, the most amazing opportunities opened up. But one thing I do want to call out is, again, to this Black Woman Power Circle. When I decided to leave, I started calling some of my partners that I'd worked with over the years so that if they did reach out and didn't get a response, this is why. And one of the sisters I reached out to, her name is Brandis Daniels. Brandis is the CEO of Harlem Fashion Row. And so for anyone who doesn't know Harlem Fashion Row, it's her platform to amplify diverse designers. It's nice. Truly amazing. And so when I called Brandis and I said, hey, just want to let you know I'm getting ready to leave corporate. And she said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know yet. I'm going to take some time. So I knew I was going to take some time off. And she said, you know, Modupe, forget the title, forget the experience. Why don't you just dream? And I said, okay. First thing I thought was just dream, right? Like I can do that, no big deal. We were on our way to Jamaica for my daughter's birthday. And so I was like, okay, perfect time to dream. And when I got to Jamaica and I started dreaming, literally, I started thinking about what are all the things you wanted to do, Modupe? I love fashion, as you mentioned. And I instantly started thinking about, okay, I'm gonna do a collection of some sort. That's one. I also know that I wanna write a book. At some point, I'm gonna write a book. I know this. And the third thing was just open. I wasn't sure what else it was gonna be, but her encouraging me to just dream. I came back from that trip and I had this idea to create this luxury athleisure collection called Finally Free. And the Finally Free is gonna launch this fall, so I'm so excited about it. Finally Free is truly inspired by that journey of being free from all things that no longer serve you. So the clothing absolutely is something that is going to be quality. It's going to be soft. Soft is important to me.
That's important.
But the goal is for when anyone is wearing Finally Free, that they are reminded of, I am finally free from that toxic relationship. I'm no longer, or finally free from the conditioning of living in, traumatic workspaces, et cetera, or just finally free from self-doubt. And so I'm excited about that.
That's good. Well, listen, I'll be support. Send me the site first. I want to be the first purchaser. So I'm looking forward to
Thank
it finally free. No, that's amazing. So, and it's so funny. Was one of the things in that creation process, executive producing the movie? Was that in there?
That was not in there, right? Investing.
Tell me how that came about.
Yeah, I can't. So I'm so excited to tell you about this piece.
Yeah.
So anyone that goes to my social media, they'll be able to see like
let them know where
trailer.
they can find you at.
Yes, you can find me at MODUPE_C on Instagram, and because that's primarily the one that I use, unless it's LinkedIn, and then it's my whole name, Modupe R. Congleton. But I reached out to another girlfriend of mine and was telling her that I was in the midst of leaving corporate. And I'm sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. And she called me instantly. And when she called me, she said, "Oh my goodness, okay. I think I'm getting ready to be in that same space," right? And this is my girlfriend, Valicia Butterfield. And what's so wonderful about Valicia is our parents were friends. So her father spoke at my dad's funeral, and we didn't even know each other. We had never met each other prior to a couple of years ago when I invited her to Amazon to come and be a speaker. And so from there, it was like an instant sisterhood was formed. And so this day, I'm in Aruba, we're on the phone, we're talking through things. And she said, "I got this project that I'm doing." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "If you want, you can like get in if you want." And I said, "Okay, well, what is it about?" And she said, "It's the memo based on Minda Hart's book." For those of you who have not read or don't know the memo is about helping women of color secure their seat at the table.
That's good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And if you haven't read it or listened to the Audible, I would encourage every sister that can hear my voice to do it.
That's good.
Because what else is so powerful about it was when I negotiated my last big offer, I leaned into some of the tactics that I learned from the memo.
Book. That's good.
So
y'all better read the book. Man.
Yes.
Y'all heard what she said. Negotiate her last big offer.
My last
She
big
read
offer.
a book and took added some extra sauce on it.
Literally some extra sauce.
Yeah.
And so when she told me the short film would be based on that, it was a full circle moment. And so I thought through it. We worked on things, and next thing you know, I'm in Porter Ranch, California on a movie set with Kyla Pratt and the rest of the team. That was probably one of the most amazing experiences. So I've been bit by that bug.
Nice.
And I'm excited
Once
to
you
be able
see
to
it, you can't unsee it.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah.
You can't unsee it. You can't unsee the experience, and you can't unsee from the beginning to the finished product.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing thing. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
That's good. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see it. When is it releasing?
So next year,
Okay,
right
good.
now, what we're doing, we have some private screenings that we're doing right now.
Make sure I get to come to one of them.
Absolutely, because
Okay.
we're going to have one here in Atlanta.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
Next week, we have 2 in LA.
Okay.
And so it's been amazing. We did have one last week at Martha's Vineyard. Well, it's not last week, but a few weeks ago in Martha's Vineyard, standing ovation.
Yeah.
And so that was also just an amazing moment to see the reaction from people when they see this film. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I think it's so powerful is because it's a story that's told that's so common for women everywhere, especially Black women.
That's good.
Where you're in these corporate spaces and for whatever reason, you become a target. Whether it's because of the way you look, or you've got a little bit too much shine, you've ended up on too many lists like Forbes under 40, different things like that. And it just rubs people the wrong way.
And
the
I don't
haters.
know why. Yeah.
Just haters,
Yeah.
right?
No reason.
But what they don't realize is that the individuals that they do that to, the trauma that they're putting on those individuals every day. But what we end up doing is saying, "No, I'm fine." Mm-hmm. You realize you're not fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's why people are like really connecting to the film. So I'm thankful to see where this is going to go. We're also going to be at the different film festivals this year. And so next year, after we're done with the film festivals, we'll be determining when the release is going to happen.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. It sounds like it's about to be an amazing journey and
Oh my gosh.
amazing opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm so
that's
excited.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I'm inspired by, and this is like, you just said, yo, I'm going to go leave and then I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That means you got to have stuff in order.
You got to have stuff in order.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most people not leaving and then figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like you go, like just, that mean financial literacy. That means just really having things together. And I love that for you. Just, you know what I mean?
You have to, because at some point there are generational curses you have to break, right? Like one of the things I was telling you about was my dad was a community leader, but he was also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And he owned 2 radio stations and a newspaper. Now, when I think about the fact that my father technically was like a media mogul, right?
100%. When you said that, I was like, what is it? Is it I just start thinking, Kathy Hugheses and
exactly. It was none of those, but he had the ability to be that because he had those same relationships, and he also had the tenacity. He was a serial entrepreneur. So working for anyone was not an option. He was going to do like what his talents would pay for, right?
And how long was he here for? Or
my dad was 74 years old.
So
when he passed.
you've seen him grow. You've seen every step of the way. Now.
Every step of the way. Like I worked in the business. I was DJing at 12 years old on the radio. And it was because in order for me to earn money, it was you got to open the radio station this morning. And so 5 a.m., I'm scared as hell because I'm like looking at the people who are just sitting in front of the window who slept there all night, but I gotta get on the radio and play this good gospel music for the people. Yeah.
That's good.
So what I was saying though is that one of the things that as his businesses died with him, he was so committed to the community and so committed to allowing everyone else to have a voice that it made me begin to wonder about, did he have mentors? Was there anyone to say, hey, you know, here's the technology you need to change. The frequencies are changing. The technology is changing. Invest in it now so that, you know, the ownership piece is there. And so when you watch some of those things happen, you begin to understand how important ownership, investments, and those things are. And so I am thankful and blessed to be able to say that I can take that leap. And the reason why I can take that leap is because when I sit down and think about what I'm going to have to invest in for the collection, what I'm going to have to invest in or put aside for, you know, executive producing different projects and also doing angel investing in other areas. I meant to mention that part. I love when, like I have a friend of mine, she's launching a mental health app called You Are a Warrior. And she actually just got it's called You Are a Warrior Day in Washington, D.C., and I think it's September 10th. But the power of that app and what it's going to do, that is an example to me where if you've got this sister circle, we should all be investing in lifting and elevating those types of, you know, technologies that are right in our labs.
That's good. Oh, that's powerful. Man, you got a good story. You got a lot going on. Angel investor. I'm excited for this new journey that you're embarking on. It's about to be amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm happy you're here in Atlanta too. So
me too. And let me just give you a special shout out because, and this is also another story that has to be told. This brother right here is one of the kindest human beings I've ever met. And when you would just randomly like, hey sis, checking in, you good? Know you and the family just moved here, you need anything? And remember that one time I said, actually I do need something. I need like a connection for sourcing, right? I'd reached out to some people, never got anything back. And you sent another voice note, copying another brother on it and said, hey, I know you're in this space. You're into clothing. She's looking to launch a collection. Can you connect? We got on the phone. He gave me his connection. The sister that I'm working with was so inspired by my line, and we've been joined at the hip ever since. And it's because she believes in what I'm doing, but it was through that connection. So I want to say thank you to you.
Anytime. And if I could help in any way, please let me know. It's funny you said, so I was talking. So I speak at Invest Fest and they're like, yo, you got what you speaking about. And I literally don't yet. And it is something I should prepare for 10, 15,000 people on. So I speak right after I speak, 50 Cent speak.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey speak.
Nice.
So I'm at a major,
nice flex right there, Neo.
A major speaking spot. But what I realize is that I'm not the best entrepreneur. I'm not 50. I'm not Steve. I'm not any of them. I'm me in my own right. But what I realized for me, my difference between everybody is my ability to give back. I can almost beat most people in that area.
Yeah.
Right now I can't beat 50 in business. And I don't know his giving back, I'm sure. But what I'm saying is my being intentional of giving back, going to Africa, doing wells, going to my neighborhood, building the basketball, and not for a tax purpose. Like, because I really care. Last 15 years, making a difference in the lives of children, homeless individuals. I say, yeah, that's my separator.
That's your zone
I
of
could
genius.
separate from anybody. Yes, you make more money than me. Yes, you smarter than me. Yes, but what are you doing for the people?
What are you doing for the people?
And that's how I realized. I'm like, I've been telling the team, that's our focus. Let's focus on give back content.
Yeah.
They might could talk better than me. But I'm good at that, making a difference in people's stuff.
So I'm going to tell you, I think that, so there's this book called The 4 Agreements.
Yeah, I heard about that. I never read it, but I heard about it.
It's literally 4 simple rules to live by. And hopefully I don't forget them all right now because it's only 4. Well, 1 is be impeccable with your word. 2 is make no assumptions.
That's good. I got to get on that because I'll be making assumptions.
That's why I'm bringing it up right now because of what you just said.
Yeah.
You said, I can't beat 50 in blank. I can't beat Steve in blank.
Yeah.
That's an assumption.
That's true.
That you've made.
Yeah, you're right.
But, I just think this is where God's favor looks different. Yeah. So as we assume, because they have a different spotlight, that, they're more successful. But their level of success or their type of success is different from the type of success that you have. And what you may not realize is it's probably on the same level. You just assume that it's not, right? Good. And so that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that to me because yesterday we're having a meeting with some people on my team and I'm like, they sent me, here are individuals that I think we should partner with that I said, nah, she got a big team already. Nah, this probably, she don't I don't think she want to. I literally assumed my way on 4 people that, well, you know what the answer is when I don't ask.
Yeah.
You okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I know what the answer is when I don't ask. It's no. So after yesterday, I said, no more assuming. We're going to reach out and they're going to tell me no.
Yep.
I have a team, Nehemiah, or I don't need your help. Yeah. I'm good right now. But right now, I'm getting no because I've already assumed.
You've already
What's
assumed.
the other 2? I gotta go pick that up. I gotta go add the 4 agreements to the cart. If you remember the other 2.
Be impeccable with your word.
Be impeccable with your word. No assumptions.
No assumptions. Yeah. Have no expectations.
That's good. I like that.
No expectations. And I can't remember the 4th one.
That's good.
What's the 4th one?
Yeah, we'll get it.
Oh, I thought they would have pulled it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. She wants me to talk about my consulting business.
Yeah, talk about it. Yeah. But no, I like that. Yeah. We're gonna figure out the other 4.
You got to figure out the 4th one because, and watch, by the time we in this interview, is going to come to me because it happens to me every time with that book. But even those moments like that, be impeccable with your word, that one was profound for me because when you think about as a parent, and I say this because I told you, seeing you with your little ones, it makes me think about when my girls were small all together. And that be impeccable with your word is like we want to push so hard as parents, but sometimes we can sow seeds of what people call black magic. They talk about black magic in the book, right? And so you've got to be careful with the words that you say because it can hurt people and they linger and they last beyond you thinking it's just an argument or someone just got in trouble. So yeah.
That's good. I love it. But so as we get ready to close, how your consulting business, you're consulting Fortune 100. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing on that side now.
Yeah, so it's interesting. One of the things that I was thinking about is as I was on this entrepreneurship journey, And as the, industry of DEI is taking such hits, how do I continue to honor the experience that I have in being in corporate America, whether it's in DEI, culture transformation, strategic change management, whatever it is.
What's strategic change management?
Yeah, so when you think about, inside corporations, you may have an initiative that the goal is to ensure that everyone adopts it, right?
Yep.
Adopts it, understands it. They basically are eat, breathe, sleep it. And there's strategies you have to build in order to ensure that it's large scale, organization wide adoption. And so one of my subject matter expertise is being able to not only build those strategies, but also ensure that large corporations can not only track the adoption, but also measure the adoption as well. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So if they want to, how do they go to your website if they're interested in learning more?
So my website is immodupe.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram at MODUPE_C. And also, if you want to connect professionally, LinkedIn is always a great place to connect, but also a great place for resources if you are still trying to understand more about business and your journey in being an inclusive leader. I think that one is also really important.
Modupe, thank you so much for being on here. If there's any way that we can better serve you and assist you, please let me know. But thank you for sharing the game. It was an amazing show and episode. So
thank you.
Everybody watching this, please go follow my sister Modupe. Please support Finally Free when the brand launched. Please support the movie when it launched and everything else she got going on. Until next time, y'all. Peace.